Hey, let's try that. For some reason, weird. Okay, it unmuted from like the wrong scene, and usually that carries over. But let me try that again. It'll make sense with what I was saying about how I'm actually like really tired today. Slept terribly, and gonna probably need help from chat to continue to notice things like the fact that I'm not unmuted yet, and come up with creative ideas. But this is session 2 of our Ironsworn campaign. If you did not check out session 1 yet, it is available on YouTube. But for the quick version, our two characters set out to go find out the mystery of some glowing obelisks, and I think you'd agree it did not go very well so far. Um, we kind of ran into a lot of trouble along the way, largely in the sense of just how our roles were going. But we're making the best of it. We are currently in the middle of a fight. We got ambushed by this Titan worm, as we called it, this burrowing massive worm that's been fighting up against us, and we're out in the middle of nowhere right now. So yeah, we should probably see how we can get out of this. Like, we were a little bit beat up, as I recall.
Yeah.
I think one of the last things that happened was I think if I'm putting myself back in the narrative headspace of where we were, um, was that the thing where all right, I know I dove on the ground and like hit it hard and wasn't able to grab it. Oh no, it was okay. I remember. The last thing that happened was you'd been up on top of your horse and you were ready to just like try and throw a knife at this thing, throw a dagger and see if you could cause some damage while it was in a tussle with me. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, the dagger did not quite hit home, and I've been cut by it instead. That's why my health is starting to look a little bit on the low side. We've both taken a few wounds, but there's still a chance here. Um,
I believe.
I see we've made a little bit of progress, but in the way fighting works in this game, we definitely do not have initiative. We don't have the momentum, basically, though not literally momentum because that's actually a different thing. That's that track all the way on the left, but metaphorically, we don't have the momentum right now. We need to gain it back, and we gain it back by solidly making a nice, strong result on something. So this is the time where we need to do something that's in like our real wheelhouse. But it's probably not going to be something especially damaging. Just like how do we retake control of this situation? Anyway, welcome back, Spooky Boy Thomas. Um, so let's see. Taking a look at our sheets again. If we can find a way to do something with heart, that would probably. Oh, you know what? You know what might be a good way to do it. Actually, we're both really good at heart. Um, this might be the time for like one of those like rousing speeches to kind of like boost morale and be like, I know it's fun. It seems weird to do that without like an entire army behind us. Like, yes, come on, no, charge over the hill. It's just like you and me, and we're not doing very well. But um,
Yeah. I feel like Flint would say something.
let's see. Uh, yeah, how can I reget like this would definitely be in a situation where I'm like trying to secure an advantage or something. I'm trying to kind of boost you up. Technically using the aid my ally move. I found this last time. It was a move I had forgotten about. There's aid your ally, which is when you secure an advantage in direct support of an ally and score a hit. Basically, it's how we wound up doing it last time anyway. It's just that like they can take the benefits of the move instead of me. Like if you're in a combat. Um,
Oh, okay.
so it's what we assumed anyway. So yeah, let me see if I can. Oh, I know what I would say. Okay, you just hit me with a dagger, and I'm sure like that's probably something that's Flint would imagine that you feel pretty bad about that, and I want to make it clear, like, there's no time for that. So I think this is the moment where Flint, while like kind of clutching the wound a little bit, recognizing it sounded like it came from you, would be like, "Don't worry yourself with me now. I've taken far worse. We need to just see this through." And I'm just gonna try and Actually, I wonder if this is... Yeah, okay, this is charm, loyalty, or courage is with heart, and I think this is showing an amount of courage, I suppose. Just be like, it doesn't matter, we'll just fight through the wound. So it's kind of a combination of charm and courage. I'm going to try and make it clear to you that just put it out of your head, I'm fine. So that you'll be not hindered by those thoughts when you move on to this next thing. Or, in mechanical terms, I'm trying to find a reason to use a move that uses my best stat so we can actually get a handle on this situation.
Yeah.
Because there's a little bit of that balance in this game. There's kind of like, what makes narrative sense, go with that. But also, you got to do something that you're good at. And heart, I'm apparently good at. So here we go. I'm going to make our first move of the day, and let's hope that we can break the kind of badness that we've had going on. Alright, I don't think I have any kind of abilities that are giving me a plus on this or anything like that, so let's just roll it. So, making an iron move right now. Well, of course. Let's just continue just like last time and have another miss. If you weren't here last time, we had a total of 7 misses in a row, which mathematically is just, it's very unlikely considering these are even using things we were really good at. Like right now, like this was one of the best things I could try and do where I was most likely to have at least some kind of success. However, clearly, I think so on a miss, I fail or my assumptions betray me and I pay the price. So I think at the very least, like the first thing that would make most sense here is that as we've mentioned before, my character can't see that well. I think maybe he may believe it's not that bad, but like I think you can see the wound is worse than I'm making it. Like it's like I'm not doing a good job of like holding it in or something. Like this is something that like it looks worse than I realize because I just can't see it that well. But okay, how do I? I think the pang, either that or maybe I even realized during it, and I can't do a very good performance of it. So what would make sense to me is like one of our stats is actually spirit, which is kind of more representative of like our morale, like our will to keep going. I think it would make a lot of sense if one or both of probably not both, but if one of the two of us becomes aware during this and takes a hit to that spirit and realizes like, no, actually, like this is looking kind of bad. We need to do something about it. What do you?
That would be me.
You think it would be you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know. I don't think I'd be thinking about that. I mean, it might cross my mind briefly and just be like, "This was a bad idea. We need to go back home."
Yeah.
But
I'm definitely okay with the idea of like kind of midway through saying it, I realize like I'm bullshitting and while trying to keep a stern face about it, like on the inside, it's my spirit is definitely going down. Like I want you to feel good, but I can only hold it together so well. So I'm gonna move my spirit down to the one down the meter. It's fine. I still got plenty. These meters are never gonna stay at the top. We're always gonna be kind of balancing, trying to do things to replenish them. It's okay. It's all part of the journey.
Gotcha.
However, we definitely do not have momentum right now. So I think as a result, this is probably one of those opportunities where, the worm got its chance to burrow back underground because, there's a little bit of that moment there where we weren't really giving enough focus to it. And I think there's that moment of calm, but we know it's coming. And, well, we've only made one roll so far, Wick, but as you can see at the bottom of the screen, it was also a miss. So, yes, so far, we're on 100% misses. And, yeah, it's actually due to a combination of things. Okay, I actually... Technically, I made that roll wrong. I was supposed to do a heart move instead of an iron move, but even with heart, it would have been the same result. I clicked the wrong button, and even said the wrong things. I remember saying I'm going to make a plus iron move, but... it would have had the exact same result. It would have been one higher, which still would have been a miss. The Blink is not riding the worm just yet. But here's what we're going to do. Let's have Let's roll a die to find out once again, like, which of us is it going to attack? Where is it? Where's this coming next? Is it going to be ambushing you or me, or yeah? Let's just do a 50-50 on that. And if it winds up with you, you can kind of deflect it towards the horse, maybe, if you decide to. So what I'd like you to do, if you could roll a die for me, and I guess on even it'll be you, odd it'll be me.
Okay. Just a sec. Got.
It is very
Oh, okay. Did you want me to roll a d20?
just any kind of die, and then yeah,
Okay.
even it'll be you, odd it'll be me.
Oh, okay. 17.
17. Okay, so odd me. All right. Well, see that die rolled high. That was a 17 on a d20. That was nice.
Oh.
And unfortunately, actually, part of the problem that we're having is it's not just horrendous dice luck in the sense of we can't roll high. Part of the problem, as you can see, is the challenge dice are actually consistently rolling really high. That's part of it. I also just rolled terribly on the... I rolled as low as possible on the action die, and then almost as high as possible on the challenge dice, and it just... everything did not go well. Okay, so the worm's coming up, and certainly I'd love to try and like dodge out of the way, or something along those lines. This is a good opportunity for something like a face danger move to try and avoid this. Now, let's see if I recall correctly. My let's see, how's my edge again? I don't recall it being very good. Yeah, dodging is not something I do all that well. I'm more just rough and tumble. But okay, I have my brawler move. So when I secure an advantage plus iron by engaging in close quarters brawling, such as hitting, tripping, or smashing, or I'd argue wrestling counts as brawling, and score a hit, you may also inflict 1 harm. So I think that's what I gotta do, is I've gotta brace myself, be ready for it, and just... what's the advantage I'm trying to say? Well, I guess it's the same advantage as last time, really. Like, try and just grab it when it comes up, so that even if I have to kind of get knocked around a little bit, it's held still and can't get back onto the ground to be ready for more damage. Journey to the glowing obelisk also sounds like a euphemism. That's quite the, like, if that's a euphemism for what I imagine you're talking about, that's quite the heady, like, almost like cosmic sort of orgasm you're heading towards. Just like my journey to the glowing obelisk. To me, it sounds more like a part of the Legends of the Hidden Temple. Like, you could start by journeying to the glowing obelisk before going to the heart room, assembling the shrine of the silver monkey. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and use my brawler move to secure that advantage. And this is going to be a plus iron move this time. Just like last time wound up being. But the benefit here is if I wind up pulling it off, will also cause some damage, which is good, because we've actually made a little progress on this guy. We've filled out 4 of the 10 boxes. And if I do this, we'd fill out another 2. So here we go. Let's see what we can do. Securing an advantage with iron. Now here's I think the trade-off on that, because I'm trying to think through in my mind, like, how is it not bullshit to consider this secure an advantage? Like, if I'm not, like, getting out of the way with face danger, which seems like the most direct thing I should have to do, it feels like if I do this, I should have to take some kind of hit to something. Maybe not necessarily health, but like I'm kind of not getting out of the way. So I think the trade-off on this is going to be, even if it works, I'll take a hit to something, whether it's more spirit or more like some of my supply comes undone. Something's got to go down. It feels too cheesy otherwise to just kind of get to do both in one move. But I am going to do that. I'm willing to take it. Just kind of stand my ground and take the hit so that I'll get a better option to hold on. So here we go. Of course it's a miss. Again, rolling the minimum on this. God damn. Clearly I need you to be the one to save us here, because I'm not gonna do it very well. So I take a miss, and same thing as before. I got to pay the price. My assumptions fail. Basically, my assumption that I think it's just my timing is off. Like I assume that I'm going to be there ready for it, and it totally catches me. Like I'm like waiting in one position, and it manages to come behind me and knock me on my face, and just was not able to get into position. So I think in addition to, I think I'm going to lose from 2 meters on that. I think my spirit's definitely going down because I'm realizing like I'm it's been a long time since I've fought. Like I'm not able to do this as well as I thought I could. I thought I could hold it up better, but I'm not the younger person I used to be. So spirit's definitely going down, but also, God, I don't want to lose more health, but it does make the most sense.
No.
Yeah, I'm starting to get pretty beat up here. So here's what I gotta do. Because it actually like damaged me, I have to make one more quick move, which is to see how well I take the damage. And then I'm definitely gonna move it on to have you do something. I know we basically just had you sitting here right now.
I'm just staring dumbfounded.
Just like, oh my god.
This whole thing happened.
It all happened pretty fast, in a sense.
Yeah.
So let me make my endure harm move. So I face physical damage, I suffer the health, and then I need to roll either health or iron, whichever is higher. Unfortunately, now my iron is higher than my health. Now here's the one bit of good news to this. There's a chance that this move might gain us back the momentum. That I might grit my teeth through it well enough that, like, narratively, we just have our moment where it didn't knock us back on our feet as much. So let's see. I'm hoping for a strong hit here. But of course not. So, again, we get our third miss.
I feel like this thing is rigged.
Apparently, yeah.
Are you sure you're using Roll20?
Yeah. It's all set up the same way as my last game, where I assure you it can work, but... Alright, let's see. So sadly, I also suffer -1 momentum. If I'm at 0 health, which I'm not, then thing. You can see I'm starting to get pretty beat up here. My health, there's a lot of cuts and bruises, and like they're not minor. They're really starting to make their presence known. They're just clearly somebody who's going to need some medical attention when this is all done. I do not take the hit well as I fall on my face, and then am trying to get back up on my feet a little bit, but there's a lot more stumbling to it than there used to be before, where it's like the first attempt didn't work, and the second attempt barely kind of started getting back up on my feet, and just seeming really shaky. So at this moment, the worm is still at least visible. It hasn't yet burrowed back into the ground, but you know it's probably just a matter of time before it does that trick again. You're up on your horse. What's your go-to? Run back straight. Theoretically, it could be.
That's what I'm thinking.
What's medical technology like in the world of our campaign? Pretty limited. We haven't explicitly discussed that, but that may be something we have to explore this session. What does that look like? But yeah, what's your thinking here?
Me?
Yeah. Who else?
Sorry. I don't know. I feel like, I mean, this is our first encounter and we've barely left town, and I feel like I still have my sword, so I'm not injured. I'm gonna try attacking it again.
Go for it. So yeah, it sounds like a. So in this case, because we don't have momentum, there's kind of a lesser sort of move that can be done that is damaging, but it doesn't tend to work quite as well because we just don't have our momentum. It's called Clash. It just works a little bit differently. Basically, it's just like what you can get out of it is a little bit less than some of the other Strike, but it still can work. It's basically you're coming in to fight in close quarters. Now just remember that iron is not really your thing.
Yeah.
So this is, at least, not that it's mattered so far, but mathematically, this is one of the ones that's least likely to work out in your favor. But It still might. Find out if that's what's in your heart, then you can certainly just leap off your horse, get in there, and try and. I think part of the narrative of why it's like clash and not strike, like why this is like we're not really having the momentum here is again just like there's this close quarters combat going on with this thing that kind of like is wrapping around and snaking a bit, and it's hard to kind of get that angle where you're confident that you're not going to hit me. Um, I think that's why it's this move as opposed to the other one.
Gotcha.
All right, so here we go. This is going to be a clash. We're going to have a +1 to this. Or rather, iron move, so let's see. Maybe you'll be the one to turn it around. Well, you did better than I did. In that, you at least got a weak hit.
Yay!
You did, which... So in this case, it is... you do get to inflict harm on this, so we're going to fill another 2 boxes. The catch is that you have to pay the price. The foe, like our foe, will keep initiative, so that's part of it. One part is that we didn't manage to take initiative back. The other part is that indeed there's something happened. There's some price we got to pay along the way. It didn't happen completely cleanly. Now this feels like I'm weak enough. I do not want that price to be that I get hit again. I want to come up with something different this time, because it's getting a little too low to be like, oh, you just accidentally hit me. It's fine. It won't be fine this time. So let's see. Do you or Chad, does anybody have any kind of ideas? Like what makes sense in this moment when we're in kind of like this close quarters tussle? She does manage to hit it. That's one important thing to consider. We cause the damage, but there's a consequence that happens. And keep in mind, we're in kind of like a barren environment. You know what I thought of that could be really interesting? Because we haven't actually seen this worm get slashed by anything yet. I've been kind of like strangling it and trying to just constrict it. We haven't seen anything cut it. What if, in order to make this more of a magical and weird place, what if this is almost like a Hydra sort of situation where you cut it, but then it reforms into 2? And now they're 2 separate things.
No!
Like, we still have just as much progress in the battle. Like, each one is relatively weaker than the last, but it's just more to keep track of. So, it seems like it would be an interesting sort of, like, narrative shift. That, in a way, is almost kind of a cheat, because, like, we actually don't really lose any progress in the fight. Everything is still exactly the same. But I think it would be interesting if there's that moment of, like, oh, shit, like maybe it evolved or something in a way that even I didn't know about. Like, this is, yeah. I don't know. I think we should go with that. It is more interesting to me than just making more like, and this slider goes down, but like something really changes. So it's like split down the middle, and that feels really good for a moment until the ends just kind of like seal up behind them and start skittering off. Now, importantly, I, as a player, think that it doesn't mean that like you can't just cut it to bits. I think if you cut it small enough, it'll still just be in too many pieces and die. But things just get that little bit more complicated along the way. But if we can do the equivalent of like dropping a huge rock on it and just crushing it all, that would probably be the best. Okay. Now, there is another move that is potentially what we really, at least on paper, it's really what we need right now, which is, there's a move called Turn the Tide, which is once per fight when you risk it all, you may steal initiative from your foe to make a move, not a progress move. When you do, add +1 and take +1 momentum on a hit. The problem is it's a gamble. If this doesn't work, then like you have to suffer a dire outcome because you're risking it all. So I feel like it's what we need right now, because if we can get one more hit on this, we'll be in a pretty good position to just like end the fight. We'll have pretty good odds to just like finish it, because you don't have to fill in all the boxes. It's just the more you
Okay.
do, the more likely that when you end the fight, it'll go well. So let's see, what would be a good just like way to risk everything. That I think would be worthy of a, because like I'm already like in terms of me anyway, I'm already like quite down and dirty with it. Like I don't think that just being like if I were trying to just like fall on top of it to crush it, like I don't know that that's really different enough from what I've been doing so far to count as like, oh, now I'm risking it all. Like this is really turning the tide.
Yeah.
Okay, what? However, one thing I can imagine that maybe would be a little bit more. We have a little bit of like ambiguous like supplies, like stuff that we have. That's Furiel, that's just what I was thinking of. Maybe is all the Noida I've been playing, but I was like, what if the risk of it all is like some kind of just fire situation, that could obviously be really risky and come back to literally burn us, um, but if they were kind of a like lure it into close quarters and try and just set something on fire, um, that could certainly be a step in that direction. Um, oh, perhaps I've been mispronouncing your name all the time. Maybe it's Firiel. Um, so let's see. What if it were that sort of thing, like some kind of improvised? Uh,
I was thinking, do we have any type of explosive? But
right.
um,
Well, I guess that's kind of my question for you. We've been sharing this sort of world. Do you think that this is the type, like, have we progressed enough where we have like kind of more ready-made sort of like, are explosives a thing? I guess is the real question. Do you? I don't have really any skin
mm,
in either direction. Um, but kind of like
yeah,
portable explosives. Do you think we can do them?
we might have some. I can't think of the word. We might have something like a bomb, like an ancient form of a bomb or something.
Right, like something
But,
really primitive and in the lifespan of gunpowder like things. Um,
yeah.
really uncontrolled. Well, I guess okay, it would probably be used as an explosive thing because I'm trying to think like what would we have that is explosive that we would have for some other purpose, and I can't think of that. The only thing would be like if we went for the like reality distortion of alcohol, like hard alcohol, but that's not actually explosive. Um, Light on fire certainly, but
I don't know. Holmick likes to mess around with weapon ideas, so maybe he gave me something.
that's true. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, maybe you have something that maybe I haven't necessarily even seen it before. If he's been messing around with things, perhaps you have some kind of new cutting edge,
Let's
but not literally
see.
cutting edge. We already tried cutting edge um, technology. Yeah, I'm down with that idea. Just determining that like
Yeah. Let's say he gave me something. He said, now you need a fire to light this, and um,
and get it the
you have to
fuck
be
away
very
from you.
careful with it. Yeah. Make sure you have a distance of at least 50 feet or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. So I'm gonna
I
have
like the
to.
idea of him telling you that and then you throwing it to like where I'm in melee. So probably not 50, but like some distance where you could
Well,
reasonably tell me
probably.
like, look out, like get out of the way, and like there's some reason to believe I could roll away without getting hurt. It may not
Yeah.
happen that
And
way, but
I'm gonna need something to light it up. It makes me curious. Why is Flint named Flint? Does he have Flint stones?
uh Flintstones meet the Flint. Um I don't know, we'll find that out later. Uh I I named him Flint because it was a very sort of like hard and stony kind of name. I think it was part of his demeanor. It's more of a also because I knew a guy named Flint a long time ago, and I thought it was always just kind of a interesting name. Um, he kind of lived up to it too. He was like a real sort of like survivalist, sort of like uh,
Mhm.
out in nature sort of person. He deserved to be called Flint. He lived up to his name. And as far as I know, it was a birth name. It wasn't like he didn't just like give it to himself. I don't know. Like we have supplies and stuff, and we'd obviously need to start fires and stuff. So I certainly imagine if you'd have just as much ability to like if you have that, you can certainly make sparks and make that happen.
Okay.
That seems believable to me. That you in your pack you'd have plenty enough of the survival type gear to have that. Like you're at full supply right now. I think you're fine.
Okay. So yeah, let's say Helmet gave me this round iron ball of
Yeah.
sorts, and he said it's a prototype,
Yeah.
but it should work if you're in danger.
I like it.
Um,
It's got like a little wick on it. Now,
yeah.
do you think this is your only one, or is this one of like is this our one shot, or did he give you like a clutch of them?
Hmm. Yeah, I feel like he only would have given me like one or two because
Yeah,
they're heavy
I'm
and
definitely seeing it as just like if it's this experimental, it's probably just like the one. Um,
yeah, let's
if for
go
no
with
other
that.
reason than I don't want to give us too much cool shit without us working for it.
Right.
But I could definitely see having the one given your background. All right, so this definitely feels more like a turn the tide moment at that point. Like you're throwing an explosive into a melee situation, but it could go very well for us. So I think this is risking it all. So we've stolen initiative. I think this is a strike move, and you're throwing it, so that makes sense that it'd be using your edge. Like it's all about precision aiming here.
Hmm.
Um, so let's make an edge move for you and see can you place it on the money, and importantly, will I be able to roll out of the way, which is all kind of lumped in together. Um, so let's see here. Gonna roll edge. Okay, well, it's a weak hit anyway, which is something. Uh, I'm pretty sure weak hit will still do damage. Just won't do. Yeah, okay. So technically we have initiative right now. It's stolen. Um, on a weak hit, inflict your harm and lose initiative. Fine. I don't think we'll need initiative anymore because we're gonna fill this up to 8 out of 10 boxes. I think at that point, like what it says to me is this: the explosive lands. You're able to get both of them in it at once. And it didn't even cause harm to me. So I've clearly was able to I don't know what's coming, but you told me to roll out of the way, and I'm hurt enough, and I have enough trust in you that you're doing something that I instinctively just I know you're a companion. I roll out of the way, and just I trust you that you got something in mind. Also, last time I didn't get out of the way, I got hit by a dagger. So there's all sorts of reason to be like, you know what? Maybe I'll roll out of the way this time. She seems to think it's necessary. Kaboom! It explodes. These worms they're like in little bits, and like there's this horrible squeal I think that happens. They're not technically dead yet because we haven't ended the fight, but I think they are rather blackened and weakened enough that I think we're ready to make the end the fight move and find out can we indeed basically just like come over and step on them at this point because they're just like writhing on the ground. I think so. Um, Actually, technically, oh, you know what? I did something wrong. Actually, they should be at 10 now. Actually, above 10, because whereas the damage I had done previously was unarmed, you hit it with a deadly weapon. You did it with a sword, which should do 2 harm, not 1. So actually,
Oh.
I did that wrong. It should be more hurt than it already is. We finally have a bit of good news. So it's actually at this point, and arguably that improvised grenade would also do 2 harm. So it is plenty filled up. We are as good as we can possibly be on killing this thing. Like no amount of fighting would do any better. So I think it's indeed like this worm is just writhing in multiple pieces on the ground, blackened. So the only thing really left to do is end the fight and find out, like, is it true? Like, does this go well? And it's very likely to. Basically, the only way that something could rob this victory from us is if we roll the 1 in 100 chance of getting just double tens on our d10s. There's that 1 in 100 chance that like something completely unexpected changes everything. So let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
The odds, if it does, then like truly we are cursed with this dice luck. Because again, there's a 1% chance of us not just getting everything we want right now. So let's see that happen. I'm gonna just have it roll 2d10 because this is what's known as a progress move. So basically, the way this is happening is we're treating all those completely filled in boxes as our action die down below. You can see kind of we've always been comparing one to the other. So it's as if we have a 10 there. And we're going to roll the 2d10s and see if whether it beats one, both, or none of them. So the only way that it won't beat everything is, or rather, the only way that it will get a complete miss is if both of them are 10s.
Okay.
So let's see here. Hey, there we go. A 3 and an 8, plenty good. Actually, it's a good thing that we had the all 10 as opposed to 8 filled. We would have had a weak hit, but because of that just massive amount of damage that happened, we have a strong hit, which means, let me take a look. What does strong hit mean on end the fight? Hopefully it's like, oh, and you lick your wounds a little bit, and everything's good, and people come and give you a trophy. Now, technically, this is when you make a move to take decisive action and score a strong hit. Oh, that's right. Well, that's basically what happened. You scored a strong hit. You can resolve the outcome of this fight. Oh, technically we didn't get a strong hit, but yeah, that's true. I guess we didn't set this up with a strong hit. We had a weak hit. Yeah, let's see. I guess we technically are not ready to end the fight yet. It's been a while since I looked at the rules. I had not remembered exactly how end the fight works. So we do have it as damaged as possible. And like when we end the fight, it's gonna work, almost certainly. But we don't actually have the setup yet. Because we've been a little bit too just like circumstantial. We got to get that one more thing that really, and right, we don't even have initiative right now. So let's see, what's something that we can do, some decisive action that like hopefully uses heart, if anything, so we can like really set up this strong move. We got to get one. God, at the same time, though, I don't know. I feel like this is a circumstance. Like, we pushed it over. Like, in theory, it has like 12 boxes filled. You blew it up with a grenade. It just, I don't know. It feels strong enough in the moment to me, regardless of what the results said. This feels like end the fight is just, it doesn't make narrative sense for it not to be ready for it. So even though it's a break in the rules technically, in this case, I'm gonna pull a cheater card and say we've justified this regardless of the actual text. So,
yay!
Mr. Tompkin, I know you see these. I'm sorry. I'm breaking your rules. I'm taking the game into my own hands right now, and you're just gonna deal with it. But yes, for those of you playing at home, oh, and I should mention this RPG is freely available at ironswornrpg.com. Everything we're doing right now is a pay what you want game. And it's really well put together. I highly recommend you find it. It's got all sorts of useful references. The PDF is very well indexed, and like, it's really, you did a really good job. So I recommend you take a look, and then you too can play along with games at home. That the game works not only co-op like this. You can do it as a group game, or as done on my last series of Ironsworn streams. You can do this entirely solo, and it totally works. You don't have to have a DM or anything. It's pretty awesome. There we go. There's my quick plug. So I'm going to take our results there. We have our 3 and an 8. We have ended the fight successfully. So it means... Pull that move up again. All right. We have a strong hit. The foe is no longer in the fight. Clearly. I think whatever little bits fit are remaining, I don't know, you probably have the opportunity to just indeed like step a boot on them and just crush whatever writhing form is there the rest of the way so it stops moving. They're killed, out of action, flee, or surrender as appropriate to the situation and your intent. Yeah, I mean, I think we have... It all makes sense. Okay, yeah, in this case, the move is only more complicated if we don't get a strong hit. Like, there's ancillary things that are like this, but, or you've lost the fight, or whatever, but we got a strong hit, so we're fine. So, the Titan Worm is defeated. Here is the thing about fighting in this game. If I recall correctly, it's not like we don't get experience or anything from fighting. That's not what this game rewards. The reward is that we're alive, we're out of the situation, but it doesn't really care that we finished a battle. It cares about us fulfilling vows. Now, if we had a vow to kill this Titan Worm, if that was part of our story, then sure, we'd get experience out of that. But our reward is we get to continue our story. Let me just make 100% certain that I'm saying that right, and that there isn't something that we get out of it. But I'm pretty sure, yeah, our reward is we continue on. If you want to get rewarded for it, make a vow about it. Let's see. Yeah, just making sure that there isn't some kind of XP you get anytime you fulfill just like a progress track, but I don't think so. Yeah, nothing about that. All right, I'm going to assume I'm telling the truth for now, and if it turns out that I am mistaking something, I'll look that up afterwards, and we'll make up for it later. So I'll just make a note right here that that's something I'll need to do. So like XP for finishing fight, question mark? But I don't think so. But I'll keep things moving, I'll look that up later. So, things are not looking great right now for your companion. He's only looking mildly better than that worm. And we're out in the middle of nowhere. We gotta find a town or something. Somewhere that...
Yeah.
Somewhere where we can kind of patch things up. Or, you are indeed... Let's look at your assets here. You're an herbalist, which does make you better at healing.
True.
You could well be able to help out find something along the road if that is... It certainly looks like what I would need right now, as I'm like... Flint is still just like staggering up to his feet, clutching this all. However, I think his first priority would be asking you, like, as his ears are ringing and clearing out, like, what in the hell was that?
I'd just say I'm not entirely sure myself, but it worked.
Whatever it was worked with an awesome, incredible power.
Yeah, I'm just sad we only had one.
How did you do that?
I guess we'll find out if we ever make it back home. You can talk to Holmick. He'll teach you all about it.
He's like just looking upon you, and like he clearly in your direction because he can hear you, but like there's just this flabbergasted look on his face where he just doesn't know what to make of this situation. Where it was such a surprise what you pulled out in that fight. This came from Holmick?
Yeah. Yeah, he gave me this round ball and said to light it on fire, and so I did.
This world is becoming crazier and crazier.
I'll say.
Quick, I'm just taking off Titan Worm as a thing on here. Oop. Okay. totally cleared up. Um, I don't suppose he had anything else in that pack that can do the opposite. Blow a man back together.
I do have a few things. Not sure. I mean, we're definitely going to need to get you to a town, but I have some painkillers and some herbs that help kind of perpetuate healing, or not perpetuate, but speed up healing.
All right. Well, let's see what you got, because indeed you are attempting to heal using herbal remedies, and you have at least +1 supply. You have well over that, so you can choose
Okay.
you can do one of these before rolling. You can either have a +2 to your roll, which right now you'd be using your wits. So basically, you'd have a +4 to the roll total, which would be really good odds to get a strong hit. So you could do that, and likely wind up healing like 1 of my health back. Or you could not get that +2, have basically half as much helping you out on this roll. You'd have a +2 to it total as opposed to +4. But on a hit of any kind, strong or weak, you would give an additional +1 health. So like, not as likely to get a really good success, but if it works, then you'll probably heal more.
Okay.
Personally, let's take a look at the heal move a little bit. Yeah, no problem, Virial. Thanks for joining us. Let's find out what kind of things we get on strong versus weak and misses on heal. Because that'll inform that decision. Damn it, I must have passed it. Heal, heal, heal. Heal, boy. There it is, okay. So yeah, you'd be rolling wits, so again, it would either be a +2 or a +4, depending on what option you chose there. So strong hit will... Oh. Okay. A strong hit would alone would give +2 health right there. So that would help. You can in theory get up to +3.
Okay.
On a weak hit, the same thing happens. It's just you'll use up some of your supply or your momentum. I would encourage supply because you got a lot of it. On a miss, the aid is completely ineffective, as makes sense. And we'll pay some kind of price. So, I don't know. Knowing that you'll actually do some decent healing no matter what, I'd personally recommend take that first option where, like, just give yourself that bonus. Because even without additional healing on top of this, I'll be up to what you have. Like, we'll just be the same at that point.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah. Reach into your pack. Got some remedies ready, and let's see if your knowledge is like you know how to use them well enough to get the right ones in the right place, or if accidentally grab the wrong thing. It's like, oh, flustered crap, that's gonna sting quite a lot. All right, let's see. So
Getting flashbacks.
Right. Let's roll your wits with a +2. And let's see that strong hit. Come on, that green text I've been wanting to see this whole game. There it is. Strong hit. Oh, and indeed, it is a good thing that we went the option we did, taking that additional +2, because without it, that actually would have been a full-on miss.
Oh, dang.
So that made the difference.
Nice.
We need every bonus we can get right now. We are just not getting those rolls. But that's what we do, is set them up, get those bonuses. So, yeah, you reach into your pack. You don't even use up a significant or noteworthy amount of your supplies on this. You have the stuff in there, and gonna heal me up to a +3, which is good. Feeling feeling a lot better as a result. Like, I'm sure like some time passes. This isn't just like an instant sort of thing. We're just like wah, and it's good. But as we're like taking our moment there to sit down and recoup after a hard fought battle, uh, drinking some water and replenishing. Um, Eventually, it starts having that numbing effect, like you were talking about. Like the pain is gone, and I'm more easily finding my feet. And it's like, yeah, that seems to be doing the trick. Where'd you learn that?
Aga taught me. She taught me everything she knows about herbology.
Did a good job.
Thanks.
I can't believe you've never had out before. There's a lot of people that could use skills like yours. But I think you were at the right of things when you said we need to find a town.
I think that would be best.
So here's what I'm gonna try and do, because last time we tried to undertake a journey before and it did not go very well. And part of that is because neither of us are especially good at wits. Like we're okay, but that's not like our major thing. However, I want to do something for the first time here, for my character anyway. I have the asset sighted. Is it weird to be both a player and the DM? It takes a little getting used to, but I don't know. I don't find it too weird. I find that the game still gives enough like direction in terms of what type of thing to happen. Like there's enough seeds and there's oracles in case you can't come up with an idea. I've never felt especially stuck for a long period of time, and the weirdness of doing both is I've personally been always sort of like telling stories to myself and stuff. So not personally, though I would understand that not being a universal feeling. So, with my sighted asset, when I face danger or gather information to identify or detect mystic forces, add plus. Well, okay. I was going to do this as a way to try and like get a feel for like where a town is by like seeing like there's enough people there that's got to have some kind of psychic residue. But if it's specifically mystic forces, I don't know that I can justify to myself that being mystic enough to really qualify. It's not like a magic town that we're going for. So never mind. I thought that would maybe qualify, but reading the exact text, I don't believe it myself anymore. But let's see.
But couldn't you start to be gaining those abilities like in a more mystical way because of the glowing obelisk?
Well, what I mean is like the specific thing that I have cited, like it's definitely about seeing directly magical things. It's your detect magic is the ability I have on it right now, and
gotcha.
I think it's a little bit too much of a narrative stretch for for a town off in the distance to make its own kind of glow. I think the obelisk definitely does. So if we were trying to find our way to that, I think this would definitely apply. But for just like the closest town, it seems like a stretch. But we could actually got another asset that could definitely help. We have my Raven, which can carry a message. In theory, I could send the Raven to town to try and compel from a distance, which is we'd be really good at because we got good heart. We could try and compel somebody to basically come meet us on the road, and like we're basically pen a message something along the lines of how like we're in a dangerous area, too wounded, need some help getting there. I'm trying to think of how we would write it big. If we were like, we're lost, we couldn't really give directions to where we are. I guess it could just be like, follow the Raven back.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it could be like that. Though at that point, if the problem is we're lost, it seems weird. We could just be like, hey, Raven, can we like follow you?
Were we following a road?
Well, the road, clearly we got lost one way or another. The way I've justified that to myself is the idea that I think this road has gotten, like, as it got more and more out into the wilderness, it got less and less defined to the point where we kind of veered off the path where it was just not as clear when it got into that kind of, like, open wilderness area. So I think the problem is getting our way back to the road, really. Now, we could just take our luck and just try and undertake a journey, and maybe it'll just go better than last time, because we did, like, the dice did hate us before. Granted, they
Yeah.
still hate us, but, like,
Yeah, it did.
there's a chance. Like, we could just try and do it ourselves. And at least in terms of pride, especially now that he's feeling a little bit better, I don't know that as a player, I don't know that Flint is necessarily feeling desperate enough to be like, well, we need to sit down and just wait for help. Um, it
Would the Raven be able to alert Flint that a town was nearby? Like, say, fly off, find the town,
yeah,
and
maybe
then
we could try and
come back.
we could try and secure. I guess that would probably be like secure an advantage with the Raven. Seems like the thing that makes most sense with that. Yeah, I think
So
we
we'd have
could try
to
that.
we'd have to travel for a little while we wait for the Raven to come back and then lead us.
Yeah. So yeah,
Hopefully, we're going in the right direction.
let's try and do that. Or I mean, we can also we can have it go up and then, like, I don't know if it has to take that long. Um,
Oh, I see what you're
yeah,
saying.
if it like flies upwards and just tries to see something. If nothing else, it might even see just the road, one way or another. Just we're trying to secure an advantage, find our way back to like getting out of here with the use of the Raven. Um, now the Raven doesn't actually have stats on its own. I would just my guess is it probably just has, average wit, like probably has the wits of like +2. Makes sense to me. Like it can see decently well. Um, so we're gonna try and secure this advantage as if the Raven is just flying up above and trying to see something. With its wits, that kind of just makes the most sense to me. Or maybe, okay, maybe in order, like, 'cause I like keeping things with our stats as much as possible and not less like using other things. Perhaps it is less about the Raven's wits and more about our ability to communicate to the Raven what we want. Because obviously, if you can't do that, if it's not trained well enough and doesn't know what to do, then can't really get that advantage. So, this is my argument for my ability to use my heart, my charm, loyalty, or courage to explain to the Raven and teach it. That's what this is really about, is I need to communicate effectively to the Raven what to do. And I believe that bullshit, so I'm going to make a heart move as a secure an advantage. And then this will set us up to hopefully have a better shot at undertaking this journey. Alright, so here we go. Raven goes up in the air and... miss! So I guess rather, the Raven probably doesn't go up in the air. It's more like... The problem is I'm trying to give this command, and Raven... This Raven, who is heretofore unnamed... I did describe him as being a little bit more like R2-D2 rather than C-3PO. Like, he's got a little bit of attitude, and his last session we talked about him being kind of inspired by the Goose and Untitled Goose Game. He's a little bit of a jerk sometimes. So I feel like he's preoccupied at almost like he's like just pecking at my wound a little bit. Like, not to the point that it's damaging it, but almost like he's just like jabbing it with a finger. Or he's just like, hey, what's going on? Can you feel that? I'm like, come on. It's just, he won't do what I'm asking him to do. Because he's got other things in mind that he wants to do right now. He doesn't see it as desperate enough, so fuck it. He doesn't care. So as for the miss on secure an advantage, you fail, your assumptions betray you, pay the price. Honestly, I think in this case, the price is more just like, we're losing time. And... potentially even... oh, you know what? We'll lose supply. I think the Raven is in the middle of, like... he was, like, stealing some food from my pack or something. So, like, I'll lose a little bit of supply in the process of this, and then, like, angrily... yeah, okay, so that's what happens. When I want to tell the Raven to do something, he's, like, in the middle of stealing some food from my supplies. And in that moment of like, hey, no, stop it, like in that almost reflexive, like just trying to correct a pet, I like spook the raven off, and it like flies off before really been giving instructions. Like it'll be back, but it's just kind of doing its own thing because I've spooked it away from stealing my food, and it wants to just have its own like a hard crust of something, uh, far enough away that I can't take it back from him. So, yeah, we kind of like lose this opportunity to at least get the benefit of this raven right now. I think
Darn it.
that's the price. He'll be back later, but for now he's being a mischievous little bastard and stealing
Does
the
the
food from
raven
my
have a
pack.
name yet?
Not yet, but I feel like he's earning one right now. We need some kind of name for how much of a just conniving little jerk he is.
Yeah, my horse doesn't have a name yet.
Like something that
Dang
indicates
it.
how he's like stealing from my pack. I feel like that's a common thing. Like
He's a
I
thief.
feel like even just like rascal or something. Like because I probably just got used to calling him like, "Oh, you little rascal," and then it happened enough times that like that just became his name. It's just rascal.
Nice.
Yeah, let's go with that. I'm
like it.
officially naming my raven Rascal. So Rascal the Raven. I'll put that on the sheet later. I'm just gonna make notes, because I don't want to have to make a new text source right now. Raven's name is Rascal. Okay. Now we can still just undertake this journey. We just didn't get that opportunity to kind of like get our advantage. Now, you've got better eyes than I do to follow the road, or to find the road. So, would you like to try and get us back to town and lead the way?
Sure.
So we're gonna
Yeah.
undertake a journey.
I am a wayfinder.
You are. What does that give us? That is a good point. When you undertake a journey and burn momentum to improve your... Oh, okay. Gotcha. Technically... Okay, so right now, you are not able to benefit from your Wayfinder because our momentum is low enough. You need to be able to burn momentum, and at the moment, it's in the negatives, so we can't do it at the moment. It is something to keep in mind for later, though. I had forgotten about that. Hey, what's up, Fromage? Let's hear your theme play out. I had totally forgotten about Wayfinder. But a fine point.
Which makes me wonder how I let us get lost in the first place.
No, this is second campaign, second session of the second campaign. Unless you're counting the time that I played Ironsworn all by myself and didn't stream it just to kind of test it out a long time ago. Not, it's technically a little bit better than last time, but not by a lot. So yeah, unfortunately your Wayfinder won't help you at the moment. I think last time we may have already been losing a little bit of momentum. It may have already not been available. I'm not sure. I think it's just more of didn't remember. Let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else we can do to kind of like set this up. I'm not... The only thing I can think of would be, like, something with your horse. Like, if you did the kind of, like, riding out ahead sort of thing on the horse, but I don't know if that's really any better. Like, I think it's a different way to envision it, but I don't know what that would get us that's different.
I feel like I would be letting Flint ride my horse at this point because he's injured.
That would be nice. I appreciate it. It's... I think he's gonna do that dumb macho thing though, and just be like, since if he were back at the health that he was when this started, then he would definitely take you up on that. But since you patched him up to the level, like we're kind of, I'm feeling a little better and more steady on my feet. Well, okay. It depends. It depends how you word it. Is it about?
Okay.
is the pitch that like you think I need it, or is it more about like the two of us, need to get to town quickly, and if you ride up here, we can get there faster? Because
I like that.
as I
Yeah.
say, if you pitch it that way, you'd probably listen. If it's about like there's too much pride standing in the way of the other one.
Okay. Yeah. Just say, Flint, I, I see you're limping there, and maybe it would be better if you rode my horse. We'll get to town faster.
Okay. I think I can. That can sway me. I would make you make a move about this, but I'm like, if this were an NPC, then there's totally a compel move here, but there's no real reason. Unless we can get something really good out of a compel. Then maybe I'll be belligerent enough just to make you roll it, just so that we can get some like momentum back on our side. Let me see. This might work for us. Let me see if it's worth it for me to be belligerent. Let's see, because you are trying to charm me. Let's see, we could get some momentum back if you get a strong hit. The problem is, if I refuse, well, I guess then we're not really all that much worse off. Yeah, screw it. Let's make you have to convince me, because this might actually help us. So
Okay.
it's one of your best options. It's gonna be a heart move. So like, you're probably gonna be convincing with it. And there's
Okay.
only so bad this can get, which is really the reason I'm doing it. Like we need to start gaming the system a little bit so that we can get momentum back on our side. Otherwise, I would never make you roll for this. But I'm gonna be a cheater McCheater pants and be like, oh, she has to compel me. So here we go. Gonna make a heart move. Let's see.
Just think, the sooner we get to town, the sooner we can find ale.
That's a good argument. There you go. And that's why we did it. Strong hit.
Drinks.
Strong hit. Yeah, the ale is a compelling argument. So, strong hit. So I will do what you want. I will get on the horse and take. Let's see. Take +1 momentum. If you use this to gather information, we can make it now with a +1. But you're not asking me a question. Like, it's not about plying me for information. But your momentum does go up by 1 now. Sadly, that's still not enough to like burn it and get that Wayfinder benefit. But you know, we're making progress on it. It's one step at a time. So let me move your momentum ring up. Now your momentum is no longer in the negatives, which is good. In theory, that's something that could hurt us before. I think it technically invalidated some of the rolls I had before, but they were misses anyway, so they wouldn't have gotten any worse. Because my momentum's getting pretty bad. It's something we'll definitely be taking that opportunity to take care of later. So yeah, let's. We're both up on the horse. I kind of. I feel like I've got, like, even though I don't personally have a horse, we've talked about my history of like I've been out before. I think I've done enough horse riding that I'd like to imagine I can do that relatively deftly, even without great vision. Like, it's just one of those practice moves. Like, I've stepped up into a saddle before. Like or rather, like, it used the stirrup and gotten behind. Like, this isn't my first rodeo. I want there to be that moment where like this is it shows there's that little bit of history there. But all right, undertake a journey is a wits move. Let's see if you can get us to a milestone. I sure hope so. All right, here we go. Okay. It's not a strong hit, but it is at least a weak hit. Which, this is what's supposed to happen. We're supposed to have weak hits like constantly. This is fine.
It's our curse.
I see this as a complete victory, or complete whatever that quote is. Fine. Okay. What do we have here? But like the math makes sense now. I'm not pissed. All right, so we're undertaking a journey. On a weak hit, we reach a waypoint and mark progress, but we suffer -1 supply. Okay, so just, yeah, we got a little bit more supply that has to happen. Maybe midway down the road, I need you to kind of reapply some of the bandages or something. Like, something's kind of weeping, and it's finally enough to make you have to use a little bit more of your pack. I guess that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
It'd either be that or like we're eating food or something, but like one way or another, we got to dive into our packs a little bit more. Thankfully, it's we got 2 packs here. We're fine on supplies for now. We're both just at a slightly reduced supply. But importantly, as it says, we reach a waypoint. So, a couple of things. One, I need to mark progress on this journey to the glowing obelisk. We'll fill in one of those boxes.
Okay.
And we're going to reach a town, and we need to think about what kind of place this is. And that is a fantastic opportunity to use an oracle. Unless, of course, you've got just something in mind right away, like, I envision this is the type of town that we find. Oops, wrong vow. Because I don't have anything ready to go right like that, but that is part of the beauty of this game, is you don't have to have an idea ready to go. It'll give you some inspiration, and that can turn into something. So, Oracle. We can come up with a settlement name. We can come up with a location descriptor. Because, like, you wanted to find a town, and we can certainly find one. So I'm not going to go with location itself, because that'll tell us, like, you find a brook, or whatever. And I think if you want to find a town, you can find a town. It's not like that was the next place we're trying to get to. But let's see. Location descriptor. Desolate. Oh, shit. Maybe, so I think we find a town that's like a ghost town. Something happened here. Or at least, like, maybe there are some people, but, like, it is definitely not as populated as it used to be. Like, something bad happened. And, like, there's a lot more buildings than people. And let's see. We've got... I could roll Settlement Trouble, but... Let's see. Let's get a name for this place. Okay, in this game, it's not a direct name. It just gives you, like, a type of name. So this should be named after some kind of landscape feature. So there's probably something prominent nearby that the town is named after. And yeah, it's desolate now. And one more oracle to find out the settlement trouble, which might tell us a little bit more about, like, why it's so desolate. It does sound like another quest for our heroes. It's whether or not we're able to take it right now. Settlement trouble, dreadful omens. Oh, what if something bad didn't happen yet, but, like, some mystic or, like, fortune teller predicted doom, and, like, people just packed up and left. Like, some person who is believed enough that, like, nobody wants to chance it says the equivalent of, like, hey, Vesuvius is gonna erupt. Like, we gotta get out of here. Or Pompeii. Pompeii, we gotta get out of Pompeii. And, like, everybody believes, and I think, like, yeah, like, there's a few people left that are still, like, packing up. And, like, everybody's just abandoning the town. Now, I don't think we don't know that yet. We as players know this, and this is information we might be able to find, but I think we get to this town, and it's like, we can see that it's clearly not as populated as it would otherwise be. And there are people there, what are left, that are, like, hitching wagons and, like, preparing to get out of here. This is what I mean, by the way, of, like, the game does a really good job of, like, its oracles, like, just, they inspire the narrative. Like, I would have never come up with this, but this is way more interesting to me than anything I would have been like, and then we get to a town, and then there's people, and there's the tavern. Like, this is so much cooler. So, priority number 1, I guess we could. I want to find out. I want our characters to have a reason to know, like, if we, like, walk past some person, like, hitching their wagon, and, like, preparing to get out of here. I'd like to stop and talk to him and be like, be like, what the hell is going on, sort of thing. So there's a gather information role that we can do here. I think it's literally called gather information. Yes. Okay. Which is basically exactly this. It's when you search an area, ask questions, conduct an investigation, or follow a track. Oh, we roll wits for this.
Oh my god, thank you so much.
Really? Thank you for Nacho Dragon. Thank you for the follow. I very much appreciate it. Okay, so real quick, as long as we're doing oracles, to more highlight what they can do, let's find out what kind of person this is. So there's somebody hitching a wagon, and they are, let's see, character role, outcast. Okay. Weird that the outcast is one of the last. Oh, maybe they were like looting stuff. Like,
Oh,
like maybe that's why they're one of the last people around. Is
yeah.
like sure they were kind of an outcast in this society, but they're like doing the Thenardier thing where it's like, hey, I can profit from this situation. Let me go through all the abandoned houses and like take all the any jewelry that was left behind or whatever. So yeah, we come across an outcast who is, let's get a description, who is armed. Visibly armed at the moment, so let's be careful. And one more thing, character goal. Harm a rival. Okay, so maybe it's more that.
What?
There is... Okay. I still like the idea that they're here to kind of loot the place, given that they're an outcast, but perhaps it's so that they can indeed use that, like, maybe not even in town. Like, there's some rival that they want to prepare themselves for. Like, that may be on a level that's not important to what we need to know. We'll find out. But, like, now we got a more complete picture of, like, what this person wants. But anyway, Flint will, Actually, I think Flint is first just going to ask you, like, it sounds so quiet here. What's going on? No, I'm asking you. Just kind of quietly on the horse, like, why is it so quiet here?
I was thinking the same thing.
And, like, with his limited vision, he probably sees that guy hitching the stuff to the wagon. And we'll just do the classic, just like, you know, hail traveler. Like, well, I guess he's
Yeah.
not on the road right now, but just like, ahoy there! What happened here? And I'm just gonna kind of wrap this in the sort of just wideness of gather information. Just generally, like, can we get this guy talking about what happened? Oh, I should totally not be the one doing this. My wits are terrible. Yeah, so in the cheesy sort of sense, if one of us is going to be asking questions of this guy, it should probably be you. Just because you're more likely to get some kind of success out of this.
Okay.
So if you don't mind leading the investigation of just asking questions, I mean, granted that I think at worst, if we get a miss on this, it could actually go really badly. It could unearth a dire threat or reveal an unwelcome truth that undermines our quest. Which I guess would be
Okay.
more details on like the cause of this doom. So actually, I guess either way, it's not really all that bad.
Okay.
Anyway. So is your approach similar sort of thing? Like,
Yeah, just a friendly approach, like, greetings.
and
Do you live here?
just like in a very like twitchy sort of way, like he just got caught doing something. Just kind of turns to face you, and just like, what of it? Yes, I live here. I belong here. Who are you? I don't recognize you.
We are travelers in need of medicines. It's awful quiet here. What happened?
All right, let's see if he's willing to if he's feeling at ease enough to open up. So we're doing a wits roll for you as you ask questions, and it's kind of representative of like, I think the reason it's wits is it's all about your ability to kind of judge the situation and be like, what's the right tactic? Like you're reading his body language and feeling like, how do I ask these questions, and what questions do I ask? So let's see. Okay, you get a weak hit, which is not bad. Weak hit means the information complicates our quest or introduces a new danger. Envision what we discover. Ask the Oracle of Unsure and take +1 momentum. Hey, there you go. Your momentum is now back in the positives, which is nice.
Yay.
It's still lower than it would start.
Yeah.
You're still on the low end, but you have +1 momentum. We're still working on getting it back where it needs to be.
Progress.
Yeah. Okay. So he does open up a little bit. And let's see, we need to figure out, like, what is this doom that is, it introduces a new danger. Now, particularly given that this place is named after a, like, landscape feature, I kind of like using that inspiration of, like, of Pompeii, like some kind of natural disaster is supposed to happen here. That is...
I thought of something.
Did you? What'd you think of?
Yeah. I envisioned there being like this really large lake nearby
Okay.
with these cliffs, and
Cool.
they're noticing rumblings and like stones falling down frequently, more and more, and whoever predicted that something was going to happen said that there's a huge chunk of the cliff that's going to fall into the lake and just like flood the whole.
And then
whole
like
town.
yeah, everything will just flood over. So like yeah, maybe the lake is kind of like up high, like the town is like below
Yeah.
sort of a hill that the lake is on, and so if it crashes over, just the whole valley will be flooded, like that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, I like that. Okay, so yeah, this place is probably named after that lake.
Lake Town.
Yeah, I mean honestly,
Laketon.
honestly, most towns that's about as creative as they are is just Lake Town.
Yeah.
Like that's.
But it would be more like Laketon.
Yeah, exactly. It's Laketon.
Laketon.
You know, there's a lot of town. There's like 2 rivers or what.
Those
Like
town
it's
lakes.
yeah. So yeah, I like it. We're in Laketon, and
Okay.
yeah, I like that kind of portent of disaster. And let's see, in the way that complicates our quest, I think it's that like this valley is probably also the most direct road that we would need to like for our journey. Like we need to go through that valley, and if it floods, that's going to be a real problem for us. Makes you think of Kingdom Hearts Traveler's Town. I haven't actually played Kingdom Hearts. There's a Traveler's Town. All right. But yeah, I mean, think of how many towns are just like Red Rock, or like there's there's a rich history of towns that are named with about that much creativity.
Yeah.
So like
It's true.
that sounds entirely realistic to me that it's just Lake Town. Like
They were too busy settling these towns
Exactly.
to like think of real names for them.
they didn't have a bard with them to be like, we will be a rich cultural hub, and we need to have a name that suits us. Okay, you haven't either, but you know there's a town called that. Okay, so yeah, he gives us this warning, and I think there's that, I like kind of whisper over him, like, I think he means, if he means what I think he does, we need that valley for the road. Who, I want to ask him, who, I'm gonna make a compel move to set up a gather information. Well, I'm going to compel him to have a drink with us. You know, stay a while and listen. Basically, like clearly, just like in the like not necessarily like let's sit down and spend like an hour together, but just like I'll get off the horse, and it's a really simple compel. It's basically just like hold out a flask sort of thing. Like, you know that sounds rough. Like, care to share a drink, and just try and liquor him up, get him in a friendly mood to set up, telling us a little bit more about like, who gave this portent, like who can we talk to about this?
Okay.
So yeah, gonna come over, with this compel, and I'm just trying to charm, pacify, or convince. I'm just using a heart move. So yeah, it's about the simplest compel there is. It's just holding out a flask. And let's see. And yet, I guess he's a teetotaler or something, because of course I get a goddamn miss. Of course I do. Ugh. I am not meant to ever roll these dice ever again. On a miss, they refuse or make a demand which costs you greatly. Now, it could be he takes the entire flask. Like, I lose more supply because he just takes my flask and drinks all of it. It could be that. Which is more interesting to me than him just refusing. So, sure.
That's a big loss, because that, lifts our morale.
It does. We need that. So, yeah. I think he takes the message of just like, sure, thanks for the... Like, because he's an outcast. Like, he's probably socially not the best. Like, reading minor cues, like just holding a flask to him. He's like, oh, thanks for the gift. Takes it and like puts it in, or he doesn't even drink it. I think he just puts it in his pack, like I was just giving him a gift, and it's just like too awkward to be like, actually, can I? Well, okay, thanks. I'll just be like, what's your? I'm just like paving over the situation, like, what's your? I'm Flint. And like I think for the similar reasons, like he's just like cool, and like he doesn't give his name. Like he's got some. There's a reason he was an outcast. Like I'm just like, I'm Flint, and I hold out a hand, and he's just like yeah, and like turns back to face his wagon. Let me mark down that I've lost some supply on this guy. Thanks, dude, who won't even give his name. Or doesn't even understand that we want his name. Clearly, we got to be really direct with him. I feel like given that he's robbed, or that he's armed, I basically just got robbed without him even drawing his weapon.
Impressive.
But I still haven't asked him the main question, which is, I'll just be like, he seems to like you more. Let's... see if we can get him to tell us who had this vision, who told about the doom.
Okay. Excuse me, sir.
Ah, what?
Can you tell us who it was that predicted this the demise of this town?
And let's see how this gather information goes. All right, here we go. One more wits roll from Gray. Let me just make sure real quick. I don't think either of us have any assets that would help this, but I just want to make sure. Yeah, Herbalist, Wayfinder, oh yeah. Nothing I can think of. No, I guess he's on his way at this point. We have a miss again.
Darn it!
Yeah, unfortunately. So I think at this point, yeah, he's... Oh, but a full-on miss unearths a dire threat or reveals an unwelcome truth that undermines our quest. I don't want the dire threat to... Like, I know we...
Truth.
Yeah, I know that he... Yeah, I'm more interested in unwelcome truth than dire threat. We just got out of a fight. I don't want it to be like, it's that ludicrous asshole with the axe over there. Like, he's coming to kill you right now. Yeah, unwelcome truth. Now, there's actually an oracle that might help us right now.
Okay.
There's an oracle called Plot Twist that might help us here.
Plot twist.
Let's see. Yeah, that's another good point. And he may give half an answer, and then we have to seek out the answer from another person in a scare. Well, I don't know. Because, like, we're trying to find out who a person is, so it seems weird for me to be like, in order for you to find out who the person who told me is, you need to seek out this other person. They'll tell you. Like, I don't know how to justify that. Like, if you're telling us about the Doom itself, like, I feel like that scary person is the person he'd be telling us about.
Yeah.
But, like, and I definitely think that person should be a little scary. But, let's see what the plot twist does to see if it inspires anything. Now, we don't have to go with what it says if it doesn't really inspire anything or if it doesn't align with what we want. Like, if it doesn't make sense. But your actions benefit an enemy. We don't really have enemies yet is the thing. Like, not direct ones. The biggest...
It's half an answer.
Though we do, sort of. Because remember when we set up this world, we talked about some of the other inhabitants here. And they were kind of the more feral people. That they're not like enemies exactly, but they're definitely people that we consider dangerous and wouldn't want to deal with.
Weren't they the broken or?
Yeah, I think we called them the broken. There was kind of an... So for those, like, you weren't here when we were discussing this world building stuff. We discussed a people called the Broken that were, like, ancient. They've been around here forever. They're just these ancient people that were... Like, these old humans have been around for just generations, just hundreds and hundreds of years, if not thousands. And something that happened a long time ago, like, they are just this utterly feral and broken people. Hence, they're called the Broken. They're raiders. They really can't be dealt with all that much on a, like, social basis. And their minds they're a little bit melted at this point. And nobody knows exactly what the cause of that is. Because it was something that happened just so long ago. It's like, they're kind of like cousins to the modern humans. Especially because our society of people actually came from another land. And then we sailed over. The Broken were here first. And something went wrong. So it could be related to those. So it tells you he'll answer your question. Oh. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. It does lead to the sort of, like, we might just get in a fight again. But he is armed. Fromage makes a good point. He could say something along the lines of it. He would tell us in his house, and, like, that's a situation where we're, like, there's, like, other people. Like, we could basically get mugged, sort of thing. Like, he could be like, oh, yes, follow me. And then we're just at knife point with some other people. It could be that.
Did you say the option was he could give us an unwelcome truth, or
It's either it is a dire threat or reveals an unwelcome truth that undermines our quest. One of those two things happens that would undermine really the main quest of, like, ideally something that stands in the way of, like, the obelisks, I would say. Or it's indeed just a dire threat. And just, like, Fromage's idea could well work. And we wouldn't even necessarily have to play out a whole fight scene again. There's actually ways to wrap up, like, one, we could just kind of socialize our way back out of it. Two, there's a way you can do a fight all in, like, one move and just kind of, like, it's not important enough to get down to the details.
Maybe he wants my horse.
Oh. Yeah?
That's a dire threat, because if we don't have the horse...
That's a full-on asset of yours. Okay. Yeah. If you're good with that being up on the table. Like, obviously he's not, like, taking it from us, but he certainly... Like, maybe his wagon is, like, a little weak. Like, he's only got, like, the one horse for it. He could certainly use another to pull it. Yeah, sure. To keep this moving,
definitely is dire.
let's go with that. Where he's like, sounds like you're sticking around. You won't need that horse then, I suppose. Hand it over, and perhaps I'll tell you everything I know.
Oh.
You and I both know. It's like, you must be joking. There is no a horse? Like, that's basically like him saying, like, give me the keys to your car. Like, that is valuable.
Yeah.
Like, go ahead, just give me your car. There is not a chance that's going to happen. And I think that's when he would indeed, like, in order to make this a dire threat, like, I think he would pull his, like, we've described him as armed, like, I think he pulls his weapon and, like, he's making it, like, give it. Like,
Yeah. Wonder what he has.
Now, he seems in a pretty, yeah, it's a good question. What would he have?
If he's looting, he might have gotten something he doesn't know how to how to wield very well.
Yeah. I don't think he's all that formidable of a foe, especially outnumbered like he is. Like, if we wind up fighting him, he would be troublesome at best. Like, he's not even necessarily worth rolling a full combat for. Like, he is not a hardy opponent. He's just armed and desperate. But it's
Maybe
what
he has a crossbow.
Yeah, that could be like, yeah, I like that. Where it's something where like he hasn't. It's
Kinda heavy.
It's a really dangerous weapon though. Like if it does hit us, like that's a
Yeah.
big deal.
Yeah.
Sure, let's go with crossbow. So yeah, like he like. I think we see it on his face when it occurs to him. Like he doesn't have to ask nicely, and he just like raises the crossbow up, and it's like clearly heavy in his hands, like you described. And like he doesn't have the face of somebody that's like a hardened killer, but he does have that face of like he may just not care enough, and like he hasn't really been treating us much like people to begin with. Slava, hush.
Sure.
So he may do it because he doesn't fully think of the consequences of like I'm harming another human being. I think we got to try and like pacify this situation a bit and like just be like, come on now, like there's no need for that. Slava, come here.
Slurver.
Do you have to make
Loud
all that
cat.
noise? No, you don't. It is way early to feed him. He is just being a jerk. So yeah, let's try and like. I mean, there's a classic compel, which is charm, pacify, or barter. We may well be doing all of that. With just like let's talk our way down from a full horse. Maybe there's something else we can get. We can talk this down to like supplies for the road. Which I think would definitely be the tactic here of just like, because Flint even started off with like, you must be like, you and I both know that is a reach, and he's got his hands up like, I'm not saying your information isn't worth anything, but come on now, clearly a horse is out of the question. Maybe we can interest you in some more of our supplies for the road. Doesn't that sounds a little bit more reasonable? And I'll try and barter him down like that. Okay. A weak hit. Which means so he'll do what I want and share or share what we didn't ask him, but he will indeed barter down to some supplies for the road. So I guess like I'll give him one more for my supply. And we take +1 momentum. So importantly, he's going to put that crossbow down because he's agreed to the terms of supplies, and I guess he'll give us the information of, because I guess this was all indeed part of the like telling us like this is the price of finding out who told him about the doom. So real quick, let me move my supply down. Oh man. Now my supply's getting pretty low. Damn Rascal. Oh, I think Rascal finally like purchased back on my shoulder or something. He's done, or I guess he probably did that on the road somewhere. Like once he finished off my food, he came back. Rascal is back. And but hey, we don't have to give up your unnamed horse.
Yay!
So let's see. We don't have too much time left, but I want to at least like find out a good strong answer for like who this person is and maybe get a short scene with them before we wrap things up, because we got about 20 minutes left. So let's see. There's some kind of oracle in the sense of like an actual oracle in the fiction who told them about this, and there's a few questions that I have. One, I mean, they're somewhere in town, so like we need to find out a name for this person and like roughly what they're like. And through talking to him, I think the number one thing I want to find out is like, is this true? Or like, is this person just trying to like, if you can get everybody to abandon their stuff in town, like, there's a strong motivation to do that. It could just be utter bullshit that we need to get to the bottom of.
Let's call him Dougwit.
Dougwit. All right.
Yeah.
Let's get a description of them. They're determined. Okay. That's right. I always misremember that it's like a physical description, which is not the case. It's just like kind of their personality.
Wait, are we looking for a name for the guy we're interacting with right now? Or?
No, the oracle that he's talking about.
Okay, yeah, let's not call it Oracle.
Not
I
Dougwit.
was thinking this guy's name is Dougwit.
No, I still don't think he's actually given his name. I think he doesn't see any like unless we directly ask him for it. I don't think he reads the cue that like the social thing to do in this situation would be to give his name. Since I've given.
Can
mine.
we ask him just so I can call him Doug?
Sure. Yeah. You ask him for his name, and now that it's been directly communicated, I guess he would tell you it's Dougwit. And he tells us about this this oracle who is in. I want to get a location for like where we would find them. A mine. Huh.
A mine.
Let's see, what would they be mining? I mean, I guess there are kind of some kind of hills nearby that we would have described. This could be. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't get a real sense of like the way we described this town before. It didn't feel like a real mining town to me. I don't know if that
Might
one's
be
really
a
gonna.
small mine nearby. Like that's gonna get flooded.
Could be, yeah, or some old mine that is just like their lair of sorts that they hang out in. Could have some magical stones. Yeah, that's true. There could be something more mystical going on there. Because we clearly have these magical obelisks. Like there is a precedent for some kind of magic stones existing. But he points us in he gives us whatever information we need to find this oracle. And unless you have anything more you specifically want out of Dougwit, I think we can just assume that like we kind of we move on to our next scene of.
Okay.
Well, I guess here's the question: do you want to like kind of restock up and do some stuff, heal up in town first, or go see this person about the doom first?
I kind of want to check out the town first, just
Okay.
to see if there's any
Yeah, because like it's not like we even,
apothecaries or.
it's not like we even have a vow about dealing with this problem. Now, I think it would benefit us to do that so we can get some XP out of it. But
Yeah.
but yeah, let's
Especially, I mean, if it's doomed to flood, we should get what we can now.
yeah, that's true. Let's see.
Maybe I can find moth musk while we're here.
I'm just like in a store.
I doubt it.
Yeah, it sounds like the way we described it before definitely suggested it would be too wild of a thing. You can't just find that in town. You'll have to harvest it. Let's say I don't know that it
Maybe
holds.
Dougwit's heard of it.
Dougwit. Maybe you could ask him if he. I don't know that he had a strong likelihood of knowing anything about it, but you can try.
Hey, Dougwit,
Huh?
do you happen to know what moth musk is?
So before we make a move out of this, I think we need to just kind of randomly determine whether or not he does. Like, he's just some guy.
He probably doesn't.
So like,
I'm
I'd
just
roll like
hopeful.
roll a d6, and if you get a 6 on it, then sure, he knows something.
Okay.
I guess in theory we could
that's
use like
a
this is when I would
D6.
use a percentile kind of oracle on here, but that's basically what we're doing.
I got
Yeah.
a 3.
You got a 3, yeah. I don't think he knows. He's
This
just
is
like
worth a shot.
I think he just like turns back around and just gets to his stuff and just starts climbing his cart.
Fine.
And it's just
Can't
like
wait.
I was gonna have him say like some kind of warning that he should be, that'd be like, you guys really shouldn't stick around too much longer. But again, like, I don't think he cares enough about us. I think
Yeah.
he would just like, even if we started saying some more stuff to him, it's like he would just start going off without saying goodbye or anything. Like he just kind of starts leaving. Like, all right, I guess Dugwood's out of here. Perhaps we'll see him again someday.
Bye, Dogwood.
He'll show up in all the towns and just always be just this really awkward kind of person who you got to be really direct with. So there is a move for kind of like recovering in town. In theory, it's more for like when we spend a lot of time in a place, though, and like in a community seeking assistance, and like over time they kind of like help us restock on things or like make us feel better or like help our spirit. Like we recover a little bit. But in this case, like one of the possibilities we can do is recover. Like we can get provisions, we can plan, we can. I still think that it makes sense that like we could do this even in an empty town in like kind of a short order kind of way, because we still at least have an established place. Like we're not out in the wild. We have a safe place to like recuperate, and I think that's the important part. So if you want to sojourn, which is the move we'd be doing, it's a heart move, so we do well at it. And granted, it's heart because it's usually about indeed like interacting with the community, which was not really what we're doing. But yeah, that's the weirdest part to me is I don't know why it would still be heart if we're not like interacting with the town. It feels more like a wits move at that point to like find things. So I think we could secure an advantage by like making preparations or like we could attempt to use this town. Or honestly, there's actually, I guess there's make camp, but that's when we're out in the wild. There's resupply, which is when you hunt, forage, or oh yeah, that's really what we're doing. We're scavenging. It's a town, but we're scavenging.
Ghost town, basically.
Exactly, but it's
there might be stuff.
There might be, and this is indeed a wits move, which you would be a lot better at than I would.
Okay.
So if you want to lead the way to try and scavenge up some more, like the only thing this can get us is some supplies, but we are a little bit low. So let's see. Let's see what you got. There you go. Strong hit. Now again, sadly we're not gonna get our full on like getting back momentum and stuff. But you bolster your resources, take +2 supply. Now you actually don't have enough to get +2 all on your own, but I guess like you want to just share it. Like you'll take one, I'll take one.
Okay.
As we kind of work together, going through the town a bit and seeing what's left over, getting some good like trail rations and things to restock what Rascal took. So move that back up. As long as we're together, I don't know that it really matters who has what in terms of supply. Like total, we have a lot. Okay, we got like 10 minutes left. So let's indeed. I want to wrap this up on the like meeting the Oracle. Like I want to at least see that so we can have our full scene with the Oracle next time. But I want to at least like go out on some kind of a moment, not just like, and then we kind of resupply and then, well, that's it. Like, let's have some kind of moment to end on.
Okay.
So I think like we can clearly find the Oracle because they're around. They're in this mine, and yeah, I liked Fromage. I liked your idea of it being kind of like about magical stones or something. So it could definitely be kind of like a little bit of a. I think this is going to be the opportunity where I'm going to use Sighted for the first time because there's some kind of tingle. Like I don't know if these stones glow like the obelisks, but there's something where like with Sighted, I see there's something weird about them, and I want to use it for the first time, which is gonna gather information about like, wait, I sense some kind of magical presence here. What is? There's something weird in this mine, and I want to know what it is. So because of sighted, I will take a +1 on this, and get +1 momentum on a hit. So it's a good thing I get a +1 because this is a wits move. So this will just make it so it's not utterly terrible for me. It'll just be, I think we all know I'm gonna get a miss because it's me rolling, but at least I can make a college try here. So let's see. Yeah, there we go. Okay, a miss. Everything is right in the world. It's a miss. Because of course it is. I rolled a... God, my challenge dice just roll so high. Oh, a 10 and 7. I can't catch a break there. So this still might work for us though, because it's the investigation unearths a dire threat or reveals an unwelcome truth that undermines our quest. So something about these stones, like what I learn about them through my eyes, it's bad. It's something we need to worry about. And so I want to do one more oracle here, which is Mystic Backlash. It's not necessarily something that happens right now, but I think it's definitely something that is like a potential in this area, like something we need to be wary of as we move forward in this scene. So Mystic Backlash. That's boring. I'm going to roll that again. It's just you waste resources. Boo! That's not mystic enough. And we just resupply. That's bullshit. No.
Right. Not really doing anything to waste resources.
You collapse or drift into a troubled sleep. So something about this area, like if we're not careful, we realize this is a dangerous environment where like
the stones make us sleep?
Like they could make us fall into a sleep, and I think there's kind of an implication. I think the oracle here, we as players, but our characters don't know. I think the oracle is potentially more monstrous than we might have realized. Like, that's why it hangs out in the mine, because when people see it, they might get lulled into a sleep by the environment, and it can feed, or like that sort of, like, not necessarily feed literally, but like, there's something like that. Like, oh, what if, like, it's in a mine, what if they're literally like a vampire? Like, or vampire-like, like, they can't go out into the world. So people have to come into this mine. We don't have the answers to that yet, but we have an angle there to consider. This oracle is a dangerous person. There's something about them that wants to take advantage of the fact that this place can make us go to sleep. It's going to be this like constant pull on us, I think, where it's like our psyche is always going to have to, like, the deeper we go in, the more we're going to have to battle to like stay awake and not just drift off into this kind of like nightmare realm. And I think as we kind of like, I think the last shot of the session will be like, we've got, it's kind of like a wide shot from the outside as you see us just go deeper and deeper into the darkness and enter into this mine. And with that, I think we will find out next time what happens as a result of that. There we go. We have our moment of like, something happened. It wasn't just like, and then they stocked up on some supplies. The end.
Yeah.
But we head into the mine. Now, here's where it gets a little bit awkward meta-wise. When I planned out this game, of when we'd be doing this, I totally messed up and did not consider the fact that starting next week, I'm going to be working a day shift again. Meaning, these afternoon sessions, I will not be able to do anymore. So, it's really awkward to be like, in the beginning, like, we're setting up a schedule, and then I'm like, oh, actually, it's a completely different schedule. But I want to discuss this now with you, Blank. I still want to do Tuesdays. Like, I still would like to do a midweek thing. I think, because I would get off at work at 6 my time, I think I could reasonably plan for, like, 7:30 or 8. Like, 7:30 or 8, I think I could, even if traffic is bad, I could probably get home in time to be able to do regularly. I don't want to push it too close because I'm worried if there's bad traffic and I, like, have to stay after work a little bit later than I expected.
Yeah.
Oh, it's up 1.
Sounds like 8 would be a safer
8?
time. Do
you like, it would be 11... It'd be 11 your time. Do you think you can
Yeah.
do that?
Yeah, 11
Okay.
to 1 should be fine.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd have to go to bed immediately after, but
I mean, like, I can probably do 7:30.
no, it's fine.
Okay. Then yeah, moving forward, we're gonna have to completely shift the time around to 7:30, or sorry, 8 p.m. Pacific time, because I totally forgot that I'm starting up a day shift and will not be able to do mid-afternoon streams on during the week. And I'll be doing it for like 4 months, so it's gonna be a little while. But anyway, yeah, I hope otherwise people hope you've had a good time. Hope that we were able to start getting on some full-on like adventure and getting the story moving. We were able to have at least some
Yeah.
roles that succeeded, so that's nice. Pushing ahead here, we got. I do hope that I think next time, if we are indeed going to investigate this thing about the about this oracle in the mine, we should probably swear a vow about it, just so that we can start making progress on it immediately and get rewarded.
Oh, we swear more vows?
Oh, we can have like vows on top of vows. Like, we already have two.
Oh, dang.
As long as we swear on iron to do something, we can make a vow. Now, it may not go cleanly. Like, that's a roll we make. So, given our luck, that may be bad. But yeah, generally, if we're gonna do something and if we're gonna commit some time to it, should probably make a vow about it, because get our rewards, get our XP, and eventually be able to get new abilities for our characters.
Okay.
Yes. Now we've been keeping this to just nice, quick, like 2-hour sessions, like little chunks. Nothing too hard to digest. Gives us some time, like get into a little bit of the meat of it, but not like spend all day with it. And yeah, I guess we at this point might as well just sign off. I'm Jay, or Midnight Jester 8. I ordinarily a cello streamer. The next stream that you'll definitely be able to catch me on is regular Sunday night streams, 5 to 9 p.m. Pacific time. I do cello requests. And then throughout the week, sometimes I'll just stream games, but I don't have a set schedule with that.
Oh, yeah. Date Colonel Sanders.
What do you... Blink, why don't you tell us a little bit about what we can catch over on your channel?
And Blink and Firefly, I stream lullabies and singing and ukulele, and yeah. Check out my channel if you want to be lulled to sleep.
So if you want to enter your own mind where
Yeah.
where the magic rocks...
I don't need any stones.
It's true. You don't need the stones. Hey, well, there you go. You got your Evan Allen giving your emote back to you. But yeah, we'll be back to do this 8 p.m. next week, and I hope you've enjoyed. If you didn't catch the whole session, all of these are available on YouTube. Obviously, this one isn't available just yet, but once I sign off, I will start working on getting that video uploaded. It'll be up probably later today. And same thing with if you missed last session, that is on there as well. But yeah, I will see y'all later this week, or see you for next game. Bye.
Bye, guys.